I'm going to call to order the Plan Commission for December 6th, 2023. If we could all stand for the pledge, please. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Robert Burleson.
Here.
Yolanda Cardona.
Here.
John Gill, here. Joe Gomez-Stagel.
Here.
Bob Valoy.
Here.
Jenna Lordson.
Here.
John Kennedy.
Here.
Attorney Adam Decker.
Here.
Engineer John Dykstra.
Here.
Councilman Liaison Brian Blazak.
Present.
Town Manager Joe Wizawati.
Present. We have a quorum. Good for tonight's meeting. Next on the agenda, we have minutes. If everyone had the opportunity to review minutes, I will entertain a motion for November 1st, regular scheduled meeting.
Motion to approve November 1st, 2023 regular meeting minutes.
I got a motion to approve by Bob. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Bob Valoy. Questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Anyone abstain? Motion carries 7-0. Next on is the November 15th study session. If everyone had time to review, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve November 15th, 2023 study session minutes.
I have a motion by Bob to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Bob Valoy. Questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries 7-0. Next on the agenda, we have a public hearing. The public hearing is for St. John Well Lot Number 9. What's on the agenda, or what's being asked, is we would present both a proposed preliminary plat, and if the board is fine with that, we would ask for a final plat. And this is for the Gates of St. John Well Number 9 lot, St. John Well Number 9 for one lot subdivision located at the southeast corner of Blaine and West 107th Place. So again, this would be approval of preliminary, and then the board would make a motion to either grant or move forward for secondary, final plat, and then we would make a motion for final plat. Anyone from the town want to give a little brief of what's being proposed real quick for the benefit of the board, or I think everyone?
Yeah, I could. This is surrounded by the Gates East that was just recently final platted, and it was left out as an exception on their plat. Therefore, it wasn't a platted lot of record. So by doing this, we're making a platted lot of record with an address and making a lot of records so that when they go to do a building permit for the well and begin construction on there, it's on a lot just like every other building in town.
Any questions, comments? John, everything looks good?
Yes.
All right. I'll read into the record for preliminary plat review. Now, this letter is for both preliminary and final. I'll read it one time, and it will be used for both preliminary and final based on the decision of the board. But it says, Dear Plan Commission, as requested, Robinson Engineering has reviewed the preliminary and final plats received. The items received were St. John Well 9 preliminary plat by Turinga and the St. John Well 9 final plat by Turinga, both dated 12/1. It's a one lot, single lot water well site consisting of 0.86 acres. We offer the following comments. We have reviewed the above listed preliminary and final plats and find them to be satisfactory. As a town project, the plat review fee is waived. Should you have any questions, Robinson Engineering. If there are no further questions or comments, I will open this up for public hearing. At this time, the public hearing is now open for St. John Well Lot Number 9 at West 107 Place and Blaine Street. Public hearing is now open. Is there anyone from the public that would like to comment? Second call, is there anyone from the public that would like to comment? John, have we received any correspondence electronically?
We have not.
Okay. Last and final call, any public comment? Hearing none, the public hearing is now closed. I'll bring it back to the board. Again, what's being asked is for decision on the preliminary plat for well 9. And based on the motion, please reference the findings of fact, please.
Motion to approve preliminary plat of the gates of St. John Well 9 and the findings of fact.
I have a motion to approve preliminary plat referencing finding of fact by Bob. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Jenna. Questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain. Motion carries. Next, I'm going to ask the board if they want to proceed forward with the final plat, so I will need a motion from this board recommending that we proceed with final plat.
Motion to proceed with final plat.
I got a motion by Bob to move forward with final plat. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Jenna. All in favor say, questions, comments, discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? All right, now we have action for secondary, or final plat for well 9. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve final plat of the gates of St. John Well number 9.
I have a
And-
I'm sorry, Bob.
Oh, and findings of facts.
Thank you, sir. I have a motion, a favorable favorable motion, or motion to accept final plat, referencing finding of fact. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Jenna. Questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. All right, public hearing is over. Next on the agenda, we have a proposed final plat of Rose Garden Phase 3, Block 2. This is 3 single-family residential lots located at the southeast corner of Willow Lane and 91st Place. Mr. Reddick.
Good evening.
Sir.
Good evening. Doug Reddick with DVG, representing Mike Granissi, Sublime Development. Mike is here tonight as well. Pretty straightforward. We are asking for a final plat approval on lots 3, 4, and 5 of Rose Garden Edition. We're calling this Phase 3, Block 2 of Rose Garden. Again, this improvements were put in years ago, and it's just time to kind of clean things up and plat these 3 lots, and then we're going to proceed with the last 2 lots, which are lots 1 and 2, in the coming months.
All right, any questions for Mr. Reddick? If not, let me read the letter from Robinson Engineering. Dear Plan Commission, as requested, we have reviewed the final secondary plat for the above referenced project and have the following comments. We have reviewed the final plat and find it to be satisfactory. The development review fee is $1,500. This reflects the minimum fee for final plat per town code. 3, the public improvements, including certified engineering as-built, are completed for this development. Sincerely yours, Robinson Engineering. That is the letter. With that, I will entertain a motion for secondary plat approval.
I'll make a motion to.
I'm sorry, please reference finding of facts. Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve the final plat of Rose Garden Phase 3, Block 2, referencing findings of fact.
You got a approval, motion by Jenna. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Bob Valois. Questions, comments, discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstain. At this time, also, we will be asking for approval from the board for acceptance of a recommendation for the board to accept, the town council to accept a 3-year maintenance bond and 3-year warranty for Rose Gardens Phase 3, Block 2. And with that, I will read the letter by Robinson Engineering. Dear Plan Commission, as requested, we have evaluated the minimum 3-year maintenance bond provided by the developer for the subject property. 1, the letter dated 9/11/23 to the Plan Commission. The final plat was found to be satisfactory. No performance letter of credit was needed. 2, our calculations show the provided maintenance bond meets the minimum amount required. Therefore, we recommend acceptance of the attached maintenance bond for $11,250. 3 also states the soil erosion control is to be maintained by the subdivider or lot owner. And 4, per code Article 3, Section 21A24, the developer shall also provide warranty guaranteeing the improvements for a period of 3 years after acceptance by the town in written form per the suggested verbiage provided in this section of code. With that, I will entertain a motion to recommend the town council to accept this letter of maintenance for $11,250.
I'll make a motion to send a favorable recommendation to the town council to accept the 3-year maintenance bond in the amount of $11,250.
I have a favorable recommendation by Jenna. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Bob Burleson. Questions, comments, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sorry, getting in your way. Item number C, Greystone Unit 3, Unit 3, Phase 3. This is a recommendation to the town council for acceptance of a 2-year performance cash escrow in the amount of $13,200. I will read the letter from Robinson Engineering. Dear Plan Commission, as requested, we have reviewed the final secondary plat for the above referenced project and have the following comments. I'm sorry, 1 second. We have reviewed the final secondary plat and find it to be satisfactory. The development fee is $16,249.08 and was paid. And then finally, 3, the public improvements are complete except for the completion of streetlights and certified engineering as-built drawings and revocable, thank you, letter of credit or cash escrow should be submitted to the town in the amount of $13,200 or surety bond in the amount of $15,600 to ensure the completion of the outstanding items. The performance cash escrow of $13,200 has been received by the town. Sincerely, Robinson Engineering. So this is again a recommendation to the council to accept this cash escrow. Entertain a motion, comments, discussion?
Motion, favorable recommendation to town council for the acceptance of a 2-year performance for Greystone Unit 3, Phase 3, in the cash amount of $13,200.
I have a favorable recommendation by Bob Burleson. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there, I'm gonna give it to Jenna. Ladies first. Ladies first.
I agree.
All right. Second by Jenna. Questions, comments, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Next on the agenda, item D, St. John Commons. This is approval declaratory resolution of the St. John Redevelopment Commission declaring St. John Commons as an economic development area and improving an economic development plan for said area. So this is a plan of action to approve, deny, or defer. Just a quick overview for the board, just for their recollection on this resolution again. It was
Yeah,
shown in the, yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
so this was before, you guys, before you had approved the original declaratory resolution, which was for the St. John's Commons TIF, and in so doing, that it was for a commercial portion of it. This also now captures the residential portion of that TIF, which is more advantageous for the town. And what we're looking for. So we've already done this on a one-step basis. Now we're kind of, we hit the brakes on that, redid everything, and we're trying to make sure that we got all of the TIF increment included in this. And I think we've done that. We're trying to make sure that we get this done before the end of the year, so that way we capture the increment from the beginning of this year, which is why we're kind of moving forward on this on a quicker than normal basis, but so we're asking the Plan Commission to approve that this evening.
Thank you, sir. Any questions or comments for Joe? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve declaratory resolution of the St. John Redevelopment Commission declaring St. John Commons as a economic development area.
I have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
You got a second? Motion by Bob, second by Bob Valoy. Questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Next on the agenda, we have Franciscan Alliance. This is a request for rezone from open space to C2 Highway Commercial of a portion of the Franciscan Alliance site in St. John, approximately 710 feet east of US Highway. Mr. Weiser, good evening, sir.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Jim Weiser, the attorney for the project. I have here with me a few more individuals this evening based on our prior conversations, but Maggie, of course, Tortolano's been here. Ken Catalier, who was on by Zoom. Andrew, who refuses to tell me his last name, but that's Andrew. And Daniel Dalton, the culprit in all this. So we're here this evening to have a discussion as we understood it when we left last time. Obviously, we've made the presentation on several occasions about the project, the benefits of the project, why we think it meets all of the requirements of the Indiana statutes and your ordinances concerning rezoning. So the issue that appears ripe for discussion this evening, as we understand it, is the question of a not-for-profit building or organization establishing and developing a building in the town of St. John and a TIF area, and the ramifications of that, if any, relative to the rezoning. So when we left it last time, was our understanding that the Plan Commission wanted or requested that if Daniel could be here, we had employed Daniel to do the report, that if he could be here to comment on that report, and we can provide you information relative to the report as well from our perspective, that's how we would proceed. And of course, if you still have any questions on rezoning, we'll be happy to answer those as well. I mean, specifically on rezoning. There's no question in our mind that it's a great project for this community and can serve as a catalyst for some real serious and expansive economic development in the future in that particular area. And we've made that clear in the record before. So what I do, you've had Daniel's report now, and now you've had the opportunity to look at it. We didn't get it to you till right before the meeting last time, so we know you've had the opportunity to look at it. We're happy to respond to any questions or comments that you may have relative to the report or anything else as it relates to the project. So thank you for your time.
Well, again, thank you for Franciscan Alliance for doing the report for us to provide us with the information that I think was valuable for us to make an educated decision. So we appreciate that. So is there any questions or comments? Discussion points? I did reach out to Daniel. I did have a conversation with him. He answered some of the questions I had. But I just, this is based on the building being one story. There is potential for the building to go multiple stories. Ken did allude to the fact that that does not deter that those units in those buildings on higher floors could be for or not-for-profit in those office spaces or whatever they're used for. So I just want the board to be aware that based on these figures, it is currently based on a single story for each of the buildings and not a future 4-story building. I am saying that correctly, Daniel? Yes. But please, at this time, if you have any questions, please use it to ask. Yep.
Can I just ask, I know that, we're looking at the fiscal impact, but I think we need to take a look at, what the overall impact would be for the town. How many jobs are we looking at creating both permanent and for construction? What are we looking at?
I think we provided some of those figures before, Daniel. I think we gave that to you. I think probably Daniel's best served to answer that, but we have those figures here.
The numbers I've heard so far are 43 jobs with a total salary of $5 million a year.
Okay, and those are permanent jobs, correct?
That's correct.
So do you know if they would be relocating some of those jobs from other Franciscan service areas here?
Combination of some that are relocating them new hires.
Gonna have to come out.
Ken, I'm sorry. If we're gonna, I'm sorry, I apologize, just so that we can get it in the record, sir, I apologize.
I think that would be, as you asked, it would be a combination of folks coming from other locations, but also new hires that would be brought to this location.
Okay, and then my final question is construction, what's the total cost of construction? And then what are we looking at in terms of, those jobs?
Yeah, well, on the construction, again, roughly 40,000, 42,000 square feet at $750 a square foot, so roughly $32 million project.
Okay.
Maggie, do you know the number of potential jobs that would come there and what those average salaries would be?
I don't. I can get that information for you, but I
Yeah,
But you said about 35 or 34 million?
roughly 32, about
32?
$750 a square foot
Okay.
is what we think.
I just
So-
wanted to make sure we had numbers on that. that's
Sure.
all.
My question, the 43 full-time employees, is that for the first story or for the 4 stories?
That's just for the first.
Just
yeah.
first main floor?
So do you have operations currently at the one facility across from community outpatient? Is that place closed?
No, it's not closed. What we actually have is it's our marketing engagement center.
Okay.
So the folks that go out and call you and say, hey, if you're going to come in for this appointment, you need to go get this blood test first. So, they orchestrate and correct all that. I also thought I could share with the council, if commission, if, again, the top portion shows where the exact parcels are right now, the taxes we paid in the past 2 years, and then other leased locations that we pay taxes. And I do want to emphasize that because just for this year alone, for 2023, 2002 payable 2023, we paid both of what we own, the land, and then the lease locations, about $161,000, and last year was the same. So I'm not sure if this is help, but just to let you know that again, any lease locations, we are responsible for the real estate taxes as the landlord passes those through to us. And we take that obligation and do so. On our owned land, again, as a 501c3, we do request that or try to, if we wish to have that, because we do feel that the concentration of work that we do and then the salary level of jobs and the concentration of cost for the project really do help back and support the community.
I have a question. I know we're talking about total jobs that are being created in that area. I do have it on, I hope. The total jobs, that is not an economic development definition. That's an economic incentive. But the total jobs, and I'm not saying that they have to come from the town of St. John, but you're saying we're creating jobs for other areas or other people to come in here. So what does that have to do with the town of St. John, creating a better quality of life for the community? That's my question a little bit there. I hope you work with that.
I think the only thing I could say, both on the construction side and on the permanent side, could we always get everybody from St. John? Not necessarily. I'm learning that being from Indianapolis, how you guys spread out here in Lake County, what you have, that people can commute. But I would say that when it comes to the construction, again, they typically do get a lot of local folks that are in those fields. So that'll be the construction jobs, hopefully the bulk of them would be. And then, of course, the average salary of $116,000 with 43 FTE. At $5 million a year, some could be from this very area. If we're fortunate, we might get some community.
So that's not an economic development. That's an economic incentive that you're saying that for those individuals, but not for the town of St. John.
Well, Joe, I mean, just to counter argue your argument, if we have 41 new jobs that come into the town, say they pay $80,000, they're gonna have to go eat somewhere. They're gonna have to go
But-
buy products somewhere.
But that also causes a burden in the community too, so.
I agree with that.
So, you know, as far as economic development, everybody that throws the word economic development, that in itself is not creating an economic development would be something like a better school and all those things. And that is what economic development, what money comes back into the community. You spend money, Walmart.
A multiplier, is that what you're saying?
Pardon?
A multiplier, is that what?
Right.
Yeah, and I think there would certainly be a multiplier. We did also have a letter from the Schilling family that came from Jack Slager that, you know, again, indicates again what they might do across the street. And again, I think that there would be the opportunities of us to feed off of them and them to feed off of us, if you will.
One statement I want to say is we have, you know, a number of facilities, healthcare facilities here in town, and I don't see a big draw or those folks, those employees making a demand or creating a demand for restaurants and going out to eat. And if there was, then we would have, you know, possibly a high-end restaurant coming in town. So saying that there's going to be 43 employees and they're going to go out to lunch and they're going to, you know, create business opportunities for St. John, it could happen, it could not happen. We don't know that. We're speculating. Yeah, there might be a few that want to go out, and maybe most of them might bag it for lunch. I don't know. But just right now we have, and I think on your list you had 4 or 5 facilities here in town. Community has an outpatient. I don't know how many employees they have there, but just they're not driving that force of more economic development because they've been here for a number of years, 20 years that I know of, since I've been in town for 23 years.
I guess I'm still having a hard time understanding then. You don't think that those employees would come here and perhaps maybe stop by the Target or Strack Van Til or any of the gas stations?
Oh,
or any
possibly,
of the
yeah.
Mike's Express Car Wash?
Yeah.
Again, I feel that they will spend money here. Will they be here all the time, and will they go to lunch every day? No, I can't say that. But I think there is money to be generated from, as I said, the multiplier effect that does take place.
So it looks like the economic development aspect is important. And any of your other facilities, do you have outlots or other commercial developments that have been spurred by your facilities in Michigan City, your new one in Crown Point?
Yeah.
Have you had any other examples where you might be able to provide us where the hospital, or I shouldn't say hospital because it's a one-story facility,
Yeah.
but can you provide, I mean, an example of maybe another facility where you've seen economic development being spurred by your facility coming in? And it's hard to, I think the question is, does that, do those 41 jobs and the potential economic impact outweigh the potential impact a non-taxable entity has in our TIF district? I think that's a question we're trying to resolve, and I don't know if that can be answered today, but I guess any information to provide us to help us determine that.
It does occur in our other locations. I will say, obviously, it does occur at a higher rate at hospitals. And over time, because Crown Point, when that hospital is complete and other land around there, there's a lot of speculation that takes place, and people know that they can make some money by developing things around that. Again, whether it's a child care school, you name it, even a Meyer or whatever could go out there, but there's just, there usually is a small development that does take place around it. And I think that, again, I don't want to speak for Jack Slager, but I think he feels that that would be one of those things that he would have. But I don't have a specific one for you to sit there and say, I know that in Indianapolis we have a few locations like that.
Okay.
Mostly it does get higher around the hospitals.
Excuse me, while we're talking about that, it was my understanding, and Ken's made reference to a letter from Jack, it's my understanding that a letter was submitted to the town. I just wanted, if that's true, I'd like to see that it's put into the record. If not, then I'd like to provide you the copy that we understood was being sent to the town, or delivered to the town.
It has been sent to the town.
It has? Is that?
It has.
Okay.
But public hearing has now been closed. So, but the board has had access to it.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Okay.
Okay.
It will not be read into record
It,
because the public hearing has now been closed.
okay, oh, no, understood.
Yeah, okay. I didn't know that the question was if you wanted to make sure we received it, we have.
Yeah, that was it. That was just what I needed to know. Yeah. You've made mention that, you know, what the question is, and with all due respect, that isn't the question. The question is a question of rezoning. It isn't a question, it's a legitimate concern, don't get me wrong, but the question to be determined by, obviously, you, and you all know that because you do this, is, you know, do we meet the reasonable criteria, or do you pay reasonable regard to the 5 criteria that we talked about last and commented on last month? This factors into that, and I recognize that and respect that. But if you really wanted to get down to the real question, is should we consider a parcel of property, the bulk of which is already properly zoned? The bulk of that property is properly zoned. We're looking at zoning a portion that wasn't zoned, that was open space. I think maybe a third of the overall property. Should we rezone that and join with the already existing and approved zoning, commercial business zoning that you have, or is it the town's position that, well, really, we think that maybe that property could remain undeveloped for many more years to come? There's certainly no guarantee. This is a tough parcel of property from a topographical perspective. It's a decent parcel of property, but it's challenging in terms of development. And so if the town thinks that, but for, and that's the way I guess I could put it, but for the question of tax payment, or real estate tax payment, which is a legit question, but for that, would we approve this? And I think the answer has to be yes, under all the circumstances and all the evidence that's been presented. I think the answer is clearly yes. So the question is, so do we let that but for guide our circumstances here and guide our decision-making here, and then we end up with no development? And a parcel of property that's been undeveloped for years and years and years, other than the Decor Tile mall that was in there for a little while. I think that's the real question, and I understand why we've done this. It's a legitimate exercise. It's appropriate, but as I know, and I've had discussions with Jack, and I know Ken's had discussions with Jack, and I've had discussions with other folks that they're looking for the catalyst. They're looking for something that's going to take that southern portion of 41, south of all the current development, and make it go, and make it work, and make it be something that the town has done under your comprehensive plan, that's consistent with the comprehensive plan, that meets the criteria, and helps to develop the community in a proper way, and in a good way, and in a positive way. And the Franciscans and Ton and Blank, in cooperation with them and in conjunction and partnership with them, have done this around this area, around Northwest Indiana, very successfully in many areas. And I know the one in Crown Point is too fresh yet, I think, John, to say. I simply know that given the kind of work that I'm fortunate enough to do in terms of real estate development, I have clients I represent that are looking out there that talk to me about that on a somewhat regular basis. What do you know about it? How do you think it's going? We're interested in going out there. I have a client that develops hotels that's taken a look out there, just as it took a while for a community in Munster to develop the Hampton Inn and all of those. But that's what happens ultimately. Bob, you're probably right. We're speculating a little bit. I don't disagree with that. But in the overall scheme of things, does this, first and foremost, does it meet with your comprehensive plan? And it does. The comprehensive plan doesn't specifically say, and oh, by the way, in a TIF district, if there's, this issue, is that something we should consider? I think it falls into the category of orderly development and growth. But I think that's kind of the balance, and it's a challenge to you. It's a balancing act, and you know your community better than I do, certainly, and better than we do. But it just seems that you already have 20 or 21 of the 33 or 32 or 33 acres that is already properly zoned for that purpose, but for the fact that we, in order to make this work and be the real development we'd love to see, and you all, I think, would love to see ultimately, we needed the other 11 plus acres to accomplish that. And so that's the real issue that we're battling here, or not battling, but discussing here and considering here in terms of your recommendation to the town council. So I just thought I'd throw that in.
Thank you, sir.
I have one more statement. I guess, for me, St. John has a TIF district. Why have a TIF district if we're not going to fill it with a business that's going to create revenue for the town? That's my question. Why have a TIF district if we're not going to have something that creates revenue?
That's economic development.
That's my question.
And I agree with him.
May I say something?
Name and who you work for the record, please.
Daniel Dalton, Senator Dalton, Municipal Advisors. Our TIF district, TIF number 1 is what we call it. It's been around since, I want to say 2008, 2010 maybe. So it expires within the next 8 or 9 years. So the question is, why have a TIF district and not fill up all the properties? For the last couple of years, Franciscan Alliance has owned those specific parcels. They've been undeveloped beforehand, and so we have not lost any revenue. We're not going to lose any revenue to the town per se. So there's really no reason why we can't have a tax-exempt organization come in and build a property. So I guess that's all I had to say on that matter, is that the TIF district it will go away within the next 8 or 9 years. And the fact that we don't throw in a taxable organization today doesn't mean that we can't in a different parcel 10 years from now. So I understand the long-term thinking, and if anyone has any additional questions to that, I'd be happy to answer.
Can the TIF be renewed after that 8 to 9 year period?
It can only be renewed if we issue more debt.
But sooner or later, the town that's growing on a 1% tax rate for multiple, we're residential, right? St. John is a residential community. We're living on 1%.
Generally, yes.
And with residential development, that has more of an onus on public safety and service. Would you agree with that comment?
Sure.
So in the future, we're going to need potentially new fire stations, correct? We're growing, our roadways are two-lane roads. I've been on the commission for 9 years, and one of the biggest complaints I've been hearing is our roadways are subpar. They're C, D rated. Sooner or later, the town needs to be a little bit more aggressive in their approach of finding funds to create a new fire station for public service and safety, because we are growing so quickly with residential. I wish I could say we have all this commercial development coming in. We don't, and I don't know why. We have rooftops. We're one of the richest towns in the state of Indiana. Average median wage is very high. But at the same time, all I'm hearing is traffic sucks. You know, we're only getting 1% because we're only building homes. We're not building commercial. So at what point in this discussion do we have to make a very tough decision? Because if this was not in a TIF district, I agree with Jim, this would be a slam dunk, right? 41 jobs, probably paying $80,000, $90,000 a year, going to a restaurant. We've been looking for restaurants, I love Ernie, all these other places, but at what point do we have to sort of say, we're gonna die on the vine if we don't start figuring out how to pay for things in the future? Because we're only generating 1% on residential, that is just an onus on public service, public safety, and we're just not generating the revenue we're gonna need to grow and to expand in the future. You know, utilities, water, sewer, we're gonna lose those opportunities. And Franciscan Alliance would be a great, but you're in a TIF district. That's how I'm looking at it, Jim, and it's just,
I mean, I understand what you're saying, John. I think, you make a valid point, but if you carve this out of the TIF district, there's a negative impact to the TIF district, correct? As
no,
it
they're not,
stands right
they're
now.
not, they're not paying anything.
There's no negative impact.
So if you carved it out of the TIF district, there's still no impact.
There's no impact.
Yeah, but in the
Right,
future.
so the fact, if it were in a TIF or outside of a TIF today, it wouldn't matter. That's basically my rebuttal here, if I may.
Yeah, no, I'm
I
not
don't
the
think-
smartest man in the room. I'll be the first one
I
to
don't think
admit
it's-
that.
I don't think it's fair to punish Franciscan because they want to do a development here in St. John.
We're not punishing.
No, I'm saying if we didn't allow.
Just
it.
asking hard questions.
No, if we didn't allow it, what I'm saying is, that would be punishing Franciscan Alliance because it's in a TIF district. And I mean, I understand John's point. I'm not, disagreeing with what he's saying, and I respect what he's saying. But to Danny's point, there's no financial impact either way on this thing. It's still gonna be zero. Other than the fact that we get a $32 million development. I mean,
No, and
yeah.
point taken. It's just that, I
guess I have a comment as well, and like they said, the land itself has been sitting empty for a long time. It's tough property to develop.
Right.
And how much, if we don't go with this because it's not taxable, whatever, is someone gonna come, is someone banging on the door trying to get in? I don't think so. I think this would clean that area up, honestly,
But at what price?
but at what price?
Right, that's.
Correct. I see both sides,
32 million?
but
What I'm thinking is, I'm just new, I'm a freshman in this whole thing too. So what I'm trying to look at is, what kind of benefit are we going to get for the town to reduce a lot of stress that we have, not caused by us, but the fire, like John said, the fire department, the police department, the utility, all those are the things that we have to think hard to make sure that the community gets something back. Because I'm hearing complaints too, and I've heard complaints since I've been here about the streets being, there's a lot of problems here, the water, all these things. So I'm not trying to put that on you, just that those are the things that this board has to think hard, as opposed to, oh my gosh, Franciscan, I love it, great, but we got to think about the rest for the common good of the community. That's what I'm trying to ask questions.
John, I just want to
Oh,
clarify too, because
sure.
I want to make sure that I understand this graph right here. So right now it's zoned OS, right? So
Open
open
space.
space. And a C2 development would be permitted, right?
correct,
That's what they're seeking right now?
yes.
Okay, so it just,
Yeah, it would be permitted.
No. To change the zoning, if you're talking about the use, they still have to come before the BZA for a medical
Oh, right,
office
right,
because
right.
they're in
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
41
okay.
overlay.
yeah.
So I understand that the use is a large discussion that's happening, but, and this is just my personal opinion, I don't think that has much to do with the rezoning of a small portion of their property.
right.
Yeah, so they'll still have to come to the BZA for a use variance.
Okay.
And again, Mr. Weiser knows this, and I think the board knows this, this is a recommendation.
Right.
Okay, to the town council, who ultimately will have the final decision on the rezone of this property. I mean, it's one of the toughest, having a development is absolutely correct. 41 jobs It's going to stimulate hopefully future activity, revenue, restaurants, Subway's going to love it, gas stations are going to love it, I mean, yes, there's some benefit, right? They're going to buy something along here. And you got to outweigh that with the other discussion, which, you know, it's a hurdle for me, just because it's in our comprehensive plan. It is a TIF district. I wish this wasn't all a TIF district. I think majority of it is along the 41, that there was another spot they could go, because that, I agree, it would be, but, you know, it would be a slam dunk.
I have a question. When was the TIF district created? What year? And when did Franciscan buy this property? Does anybody know?
Question one, when was it established? Was
Yeah, like-
2008?
2008?
Is there like 20 years? 20 years usually? 25? 25?
So it gets
Created.
25 years on it.
Yeah.
Mhm. And then I don't know when.
The property was purchased in March of 2020.
2020, okay.
All right. This is where the rubber meets the road. Mr. Weiser, I'm sorry, do you have any other comments for the board for the good of the cause? If not, I was going to see if the board was interested in entertaining a motion, or I would entertain a motion unless there's further discussions that we need to ask Daniel or Mr. Weiser regarding the financial impact, the use of this site, the economic development aspect of it. For this one, I will ask for a roll call vote, just to make sure we have everything buttoned up for the town council, if it is determined by this council or commission that they do want to entertain a motion. I would ask that whatever recommendation you have, there are three choices. There is favorable, unfavorable, and no recommendation. I guess we could also defer if that was an option, but unless there is any other further questions or comments, I think we should begin to move this ball forward. Please reference the finding of facts, which I think Jenna has included in all our packets. If that, I'll bring it to the board to any final questions, comments, or motion.
This is just the rezone open space commercial to C2. So therefore,
This is,
that's all it is the rezoning. And no matter who it is coming in is going to want to probably rezone this as well. So that's just my comment.
understand? Yep.
This is a really hard one, I have to say. I'm really, struggling, because while I understand Bob's point and Joe's, I really do. I think that there is a point to having the comprehensive plan, and the TIF district is there for a reason. However, I do think that there are other things that we're also looking at. So to the attorney's point, I don't think that the tax consequences are the only thing that we're kind of honing in on here. There's 6 things that we have to sort of consider and balance when we make these decisions. So this is a hard one. I'm having a hard time right now making my decision.
Anything that Mr. Weiser or the group can clarify for this board? If not, again, I will entertain a motion.
I will make a motion for favorable recommendation for request to rezone from open space to C2.
I have a favorable recommendation by Bob Valois. Is there a second?
I'll second.
I have a second by Jenna. Questions, comments, discussion? Again, I'll ask for a roll call vote.
All right. Robert Burleson,
No.
Yolanda Cardona,
No.
John Gill, yes. Joe Gomestego,
No.
Bob Valoy,
Yes.
Jenna Lordson,
Yes?
John Kennedy.
No. Favorable recommendation fails on a vote of 4-3. With that, I will entertain another motion from the board.
Another motion for what?
So favorable recommendation did not succeed on a
Okay.
3-4 vote. So nothing as of now has happened, so we need a majority of either we could, another favorable motion could be made and try to revote, or if those that have voted the way they did still feel the same, there's unfavorable or no recommendation, or again, there's the always option to defer.
Okay. Make a motion, unfavorable motion to the town council for rezone from open space to C2.
So I have an unfavorable recommendation by Bob Burleson. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
I got a second by Yolanda. Questions, comments, discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Gill, can we get a roll call vote, please, sir?
Robert Burleson,
Yes.
Yolanda Cardona,
Yes.
John Gill, no. Joe Gomestego,
Yes.
Bob Valoy,
No.
Jenna Lordson,
No?
John Kennedy.
Unfavorable recommendation passes 4-3.
Just for point of clarification, this goes to the town council, is that correct?
That's correct.
Yes. Next on the agenda, we have item F, amendments to subdivision control ordinance. This is a recommendation of amendments to the town subdivision control ordinance. Mr. Gill, any questions, comments?
We fixed the chart to match the design standards with 1.5" surface, 3.5" binder coat. So this should all be buttoned up and ready for the favorable recommendation.
How much trouble did Bob Valoy get in for making that last motion?
Quite a bit.
Yeah, I wasn't here.
I know, I told him, I forewarned him. All right, we have amendments to the subdivision control ordinance. The grammar error that was caught at the last meeting has been corrected. If not, I will entertain a motion. Again, this is favorable, unfavorable, or no recommendation, and please do not make it no, because Jenna will not be happy.
I was gonna defer.
Yeah.
I'll make a
what basis?
favorable recommendation.
I got a favorable
Second.
recommendation by Bob Valoy. I got a second. Questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Oh, good. Next on the agenda, we have public comment. Good? You want, yep. Name and address for the record, please.
Yeah, this is Brad Lambert. I'm with St. John Commons Development, the new development here in the town. I just wanted to take the time to thank this Board of Commissioners. I know this is your last meeting for this year, and just for all the time you spent in considering our subdivision and the different things, and our development over there, the different things that went along with it, including the TIF and the development agreement, et cetera. And just wanted to make sure I showed up and showed my appreciation to all of you. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Brad.
Appreciate that comment.
Mr. President?
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to speak on the record for this. And I wanted to say thank you to you, Mr. President, for your service this past year and over the years for the Plan Commission. Want to say thank you to everyone for your service here on the Plan Commission as well, all our staff, Adam Decker, John Dykstra, the other guy over there, Brian Blazak. Thank you for your service, and I want to wish everyone a very happy holiday season.
Appreciate that, sir. Thank you very much. Anyone else for the good of the cause? Joe's not here. Should we talk about Joe?
Let's do it.
Yeah.